Hello everyone, welcome to 12 AM Coding. And in this particular series, we are going to cover a lot of data structures and algorithm problems. And first of all, we'll be starting with the patterns because patterns are very important. If you go to some interviews or if you'll be solving the problems, then this will help you a lot. So first of all, we'll be covering some patterns and we will be learning the basics actually so that any patterns come into your interview or when you'll be solving the problem, you can easily go through the problem. And if you know the basics, then the advanced or difficult patterns also you can solve easily. Okay, so to uh, proceed with these, we are covering two problems today. First one is a solid rectangle, and then second one is a hollow rectangle, and we'll be understanding the basics how these things are working. So in this particular case, if you see on my screen, there is a solid rectangle, right? These are some stars, okay? And if you see in this particular thing, we are given a n, which is the number of rows actually. So one, two, three, four rows we are having in this one, and m, which is the number of columns, okay? So if you see, it is having four rows and five columns. So if I just make it like this, so these are your columns, okay? And these vertical are your rows. Okay, so I can just name it as whatever I want. So these are columns, okay, and these are your rows. Now what we need to do, we need to print this particular pattern through our code. So we will be using Java in this particular case. So if you just think it about like how we can solve it, then we can use, definitely we can use the loops. Okay, so because we need to print, so just take a simple example. Let's say you just want to print these stars only, okay, like one star, then two star, then three star, then four star. If you just want to print these particular star in a row, then what you will be doing? If like if I'll be doing like that, right? For I equals to, we can start with 1, okay, and then I less than equals to, in this case it is 4, so we'll be running the loop till 4, and then I plus plus we can do, okay. And then here what we can do, we can just print out, okay, like we can just uh, print the stars actually, okay. If you print a star here, then what will happen, right? And okay, so if you do like this, then what will happen on each and every line, like you'll be doing system.out.println in case of Java, right? So one star will print, if I equals to 1, then this particular thing will run, okay, and this will print your 1 star. Then it will come into a second line, it will print one more star. Then it will come into third line and same four lines. So whatever number till then you want to run this particular loop, you can mention that one. But let's say in the case of like, for each and every of these row, I want to print more stars. Okay, let's say I want to print like this particular star, right, is here. But for example, I want to print more stars. Okay, this four. And in the same way, you want to print here also stars, more stars. So what you can do, first thing, the first approach which you can take it, right, then you can just print this particular system.out.print, right? One more time you can print, okay. And then let's say if these columns are 5, then you can print this 5 times or whatever time you want, right? So let's say for currently it is 3. Now for example, if you want to print it as 6, then again you can just copy paste these things and paste it. But in this case, if you see, like in case of 3 or 5 or these particular number, you can easily print your system.out.print, right? These stars. So in one particular row, this loop will run and this particular line will print you the stars 5 times. Then again at the end, you can move to the new line, right? You can just print system, okay, with the line actually. I'm just talking about, and then it will come to a second line, and when I equals to 2, it will again print 6 times. But let's say this particular number of columns are 1000, then how will you do? Right? It will be very difficult for you. So in that case, what we can do, rather than doing this thing repeatedly, we can use one more loop, right? If you are aware about the concepts of loops, then we are having nested loops actually. So rather than writing these particular things, what I can do, because loops are used for doing the repetitive things, right? So what you can do, simply you can go for j, okay, for j equals to 1, and till j less than equals to your, let's say, five columns you want to print and j plus plus, right? And in this case, you can print your, okay, you can print your star here, right? And you can just close this bracket, and at the end, you can print a new line. Like I'm just mentioning like this. Okay, so you can print your new line here, and then what will happen, like once I will be the one, then it will come into this loop. It will just run five times. It will print five stars for you. Then you are printing a new line. Then it will come to a new line. In the same way, for whatever number till I it is going, it will print the stars. So I think it is making sense, right? It is just like if you just think about in rows and columns, and we are doing some repetitive things because we are printing these stars again and again. Okay, so let's understand this particular problem with the code. So if I go to my code editor, okay, so this particular code I have already written, and if you see, I just mentioned this n equals to 4, okay, and then m equals to 5, okay, which is simply are these rows and columns, right? So we are just running an outer loop in which your I is initializing, let's say, I'll initialize from 1 rather than 0. If you want to keep it as 0, then you can just keep it as less than n. Okay, because like from 0 to n we want to print. So in this case I just made it as 1, and then it is going from like it is going till less than equals to n. So from 1 to 4 this particular outer loop will be running. Okay, and in the inner loop what we have mentioned, like int j equals to 1, then j less than equals to m, right, which is the number of columns. So this will be running, right, and this will be printing your stars in a row, right? This is how it will happen, and then at the end we are printing a new line. Okay, so that let me run and show you. So if I run this particular uh, code, then what happened, like it will, like if you analyze this one, then first it will be coming into I equals to 1, then it will be coming into this particular row, and internally it will run this particular thing five times, because or whatever value of m times actually, right? And then it will be printing a star for you, like 1 2 3 4 5 time it will print a star. And that end of this particular loop, okay, this outer loop, in the end of this outer loop we just printing a new line, so that it will come here, right? So I think it is making sense now. So this is the simple code of the solid rectangle. And guys, believe me, like these particular things, all whatever patterns you will make, right, these are the only things which we need to clear. We are having an outer loop, we are having an inner loop, and we just need to relate the pattern, that what it is doing. We just need to find the relation between your rows and columns, and there the magic happens, right? So with that, let's move to our next problem. Okay, so our next problem is the hollow rectangle. Okay, and in the hollow rectangle what you see, like these are the stars, right? And if you observe this carefully, then simply what it is doing, so we just, let's say I am just printing a matrix. Okay, let's think about a matrix. So we are having here for five columns and four rows, right? So let me make one, two, okay, then your third column, then your fourth column and fifth column, right? And in the same way, if I make, then there is a one row, okay, then second row goes here, then third row and fourth row. So if you think about this particular matrix, right, and if you set all these star into these particular matrix, then what you are seeing in this particular thing, that all those stars are present at the boundary of this particular rectangle, right? So one star is present here, in the same way one star is present here, right? In the same way one star is present here, okay, and so on, right? These stars are present here and there only on the boundaries, right, if you observe it carefully. Okay, so if I just want to make it like the particular, like if I want to print it on the axis, right, let's say this is x and y, so and which number of rows, okay, and which number of column this particular star is present. So 1 1, like on first row first column this particular star is there, then first row second column this particular star is there, first row third column and fifth, and in the same way on the second row first, and in middle of these only the spaces are present, right? If you just think about it, like if you let's say print a star here, Okay, and one more star if you print here. Okay, and in the same way, like in the end also, let me print one these stars. Okay, so these particular spaces are hollow, right? And it is these stars are just present on the boundaries, right? In the simple way, if you think about it. Now, the interesting thing is, if you just create some relation between these particular stars, then what is happening? If you see, if my I equals to 1, okay, or my I equals to number of rows actually. So let's say here also number of rows, if we denote by n, these are 4, and number of columns are 5, right? So if my row number is 1 or my row number is maximum, okay, and if my column number in the same way, if my column number is 1, okay, and if my column number is maximum, then these things are printing. If you are just observing these things, either your row is 1, like 1, this particular is 1 1, right? In the same way, if your column number is 1 or maximum, then these things are printing, like if you are able to see clearly. So in this first case, first row first column, first row second column, first row third column, okay, and in the second case, second row first column, third row first column in the case of third row. So these columns are first 1, or these columns are 5, or these rows are 1, or these rows are 5, because those are satisfying the condition of the boundary, right? So in that case only we are printing these stars. So what we can do, if you just write a like a pseudo code for this, then what will happen? Like I, you need to run the loop from 1, then I should be less than equals to your n number of rows, and then I plus plus, right? And internally, what you will be doing, like it will be printing your row wise, right? And then you will be coming to the column, right? So for j equals to 1, okay, j less than equals to m, okay, then j plus plus, right? And internally what you can do, internally you can apply one particular condition, is that if I equals to 1, okay, or j equals to 1, or I equals to n, or j equals to m, in this particular case you will be printing your stars, okay, you just printing your star here, okay, and you can just close this particular if bracket here, then you can close this bracket here, and then here you can print a new line, right? So in this particular case, what is happening, that we are looping through, like this is your outer loop, this is your inner loop. In the outer loop, you are just moving through 1 2 3 4 lines, right, in the row wise. Inside it, you are just going through j equals to 1 to j less than equals to m, because we need to print, and we are just seeing, like if your I equals to 1 or j equals to 1, or I equals to n or j equals to m, in that case you are printing the stars. In all the cases you are printing a new line. So these conditions will satisfy, right? For example, if I equals to 1, then j equals to 1 it will come. Then what will happen? This star will print. Okay. Then in the case like for I equals to 1, all those stars are printing in the first row. Then for example, let's come to the second row. So in the case of second row, I will be 2. So I will be 2, okay, and your j will be 1. So it will be printing a star, your j will be 1. Let's say when the j will become this particular 2, right here. Now in this case, either row is not 1, okay, or your column is not like this column value is not 1, it will be printing a space. So one more thing, like I just missed it, if this particular thing is there, then you will be printing star, else you will be printing a space. Okay, this is what will happen, right? You are just printing a space, or let me remove this also, right? So what is happening, like in the case of 2, like these your I is not equals to 1, okay, and j is also not equals to 1, or I is not equals to maximum and j is not equals to maximum, so your space is getting print. Okay, so I think it makes sense. So we just need to find the relation between our content, that what is happening, that's it. Okay, so if you go to our code and if we see here, then in the same way we just did it. Your first you just initialize your rows and columns, right? And in the outer loop, you just put like if we will be running a outer loop from I equals to 1 till I less than equals to n, then I plus plus. Then internally, what you are doing, j equals to 1 to j less than equals to m, because these are number of columns. And we are just seeing like if I equals to 1 or n or j equals to 1 or m, we are just printing a star, else we are printing a space. And then we are printing a new line in the end of this I, because after each and every row, we need to print a new line. So if you run this particular code and if you see your these hollow rectangle is getting printed. Okay, so this is the beauty of these particular problems. So you just need to find some pattern between your rows and columns, and then you will be able to solve these problem easily. Okay, so yes guys, that's it for this particular tutorial. And in the next tutorial, we will be coming with some new patterns and we'll be covering some more interesting questions. Okay, so till then, stay tuned. Thank you.